Hey everyone, Dan here. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps a lot. And also keep in mind, these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. Enjoy.
All right, folks, here we are after market close on Monday, December 20th. We're going to take a look at Palantir today. I do cover Palantir every Monday, so if this video is interesting to you and you like videos on Palantir, feel free to subscribe and hit the notifications bell so that you will get these in your feed when they come out. All right, so since I did a short video on Palantir last week because there wasn't really much that had changed from what we had talked about previously, I did want to come in and do a video today, even though I'm quite under the weather. So just apologies in advance if the raspiness of my voice makes this challenging, and or the fuzziness of my brain makes this a bit of a slower video in any way, shape, or form. Apologies in advance. But Palantir continuing to just kind of give way ground and sort of give back any sort of slight upticks that it has. We see here, right? Any of these consolidations are very slight upticks, are turning around into sell-offs. And of course, this is in the face of a broader market that's been drawing down quite significantly recently. But Palantir definitely exceeding the pace of the other sell-offs that we're seeing. ARK, the innovation fund for ARK, down a little over 2.5% today, and Palantir more than doubling that. So just as an example, Palantir taking the brunt of this. I mean, we saw this back, last February or March or so, maybe last February and March, I don't recall, but definitely taking a big brunt of the sell-off in growth at that time. And it's just sort of the case. You know, there's a lot of weirdness around Palantir, people that really dislike Palantir, analysts that just refuse to give it a decent rating and price targets, and media which seems to constantly be coming out with hit pieces or really sort of bearish, my hit pieces might be too strong, but some bearish stories on Palantir and bearish sentiment infusion. So, you know, this is the period that I'm talking about here. This is mid-February. You see we peaked out here after this run up, and then it was down, 6, 7, 3, 12, 2, 7. This is just day after day after day, and then a brief recovery, and then down 3, down 4, down 1, so it's this drawdown from mid to high 30s, and then by within a couple of weeks it was down in the low 20s. So that's basically the reaction that Palantir has often had to the overall kind of growth and tech sector being hit hard. I would say especially growth. Now, I did put in these couple of points previously, and this is what we've had on the daily chart for a while, this downtrend, and it's made a couple of valiant efforts to kind of leave it behind it, but it's continuing to press on in the life of Palantir. And even though it kind of toys with this level, right, none of these are a clear break, because first of all of the bodies of these candles interact with the downtrend resistance, and there is no secondary movement above the resistance. So my question here is, it's sort of spent the last, say, 5 or 6 days consolidating. Could it consolidate its way out from under this downtrend resistance? And if not out from under, could it consolidate itself away from even interacting with that downtrend resistance? Meaning tomorrow maybe it puts in a candle that's like this, right? And it's the first candle that doesn't really intersect with this at all. Now that could be interesting, but that's to say it could still continue a downtrend and just be outside of this downtrend resistance. So I would just keep that in mind. Now there's a couple of things that I'm looking at here. I would say 3 main things. One is, can it work itself from just stopping to interact with this downtrend resistance? That would be one. Secondarily, this purple box here was a sort of proposed bounce zone, a zone that I thought it may have opportunity to bounce. It's just sort of the mid-range between these support and resistance levels, and I thought that given previous price action at these points that it may be a logical spot. Now, it's hard to sort of put those things in for a singular stock when you know that an overall sector or overall market sentiment is going strongly in one direction. So obviously that's strongly bearish at the moment. And so to put something as a potential catch zone or bounce zone or a place where it can sort of build itself a floor and then make its next move from, those things can all go by the wayside if and when the macro forces are just going in the opposite direction, right? Or going very clearly in one direction. But I would still look to see what it does at this purple box. It hasn't left it behind yet. It's dipping a little bit on it today, but it didn't dip lower than the 1781 that we saw the other day. It stopped 3 cents short of that today. So, it's a very questionable situation at this point. And then the last thing I'm looking at, the 1722, right? If it does come down and is unable to hold this purple box, what I would look for it to do is try to get support at that 1722. And it's done a good job of testing these levels all the way down so far. Not really this 2445 because it gapped down so hard here. But the others have been holding up relatively well. So I would look for that one to do the same. That said, it can try to catch it, but give way and flip that from support to resistance and just continue down further. So to me, this is a very long-winded way of me saying that in the short term, I'm still looking to see where it's able to build a base. Like you see, this is a several-day base here, right? And all that means is that it's consolidating within a small range. But that doesn't mean that you know which way it's going to go after that. You look for the range break. The break of that range gives you an opportunity to catch the next move or sit out the next move if that's what you want to do. So this could be taking short positions or buying puts if it turns downward, or this could be buying calls or going long, buying shares if it turns upward. But there's tons of different strategies out there. That's a drop in the bucket. But this is just to say, if you are looking to trade both ends of the spectrum, that's what I'm looking for at the moment. Range, and then which way does it break? This was a very clear break out of that range to the downside. Again, range bound here, and then a very strong clear break of 6% down to make this next leg down. And then it looks like we're essentially just doing the same thing now. Now, to me, a range break would look like a clear movement below this purple box. That to me would say, okay, we're coming down to test this 1722 probably, or very close to it. If it were to break to the upside, I'd really look for this 1930 to flip from resistance to support. I don't know if this 1892 would be enough. And those are relatively close together. And it's been in such a long downtrend at this point, right? That for my own particular flavor, I would look for it to show some more support before deciding that it's on a very clear uptick and is worth kind of taking a bullish position on. But do what you think is best, play the moves the way that you see them, and make your decisions based on your own risk to reward and the way that you see what's happening on the chart. But that's what I'm looking at the moment, and that's the way that I see it. It's a bit of a waiting game. So I know everyone wants a prediction and a crystal ball, and this is the floor, or this is not the floor, and it's going to 13, or it's about to turn around and go to 25. But I mean, those just aren't the videos that I make. You can definitely find them on Palantir on YouTube, I guarantee you. But in any case, I'll be back next week, and maybe we'll have more clear movements by that point. If anything seems to break, I'll put it on my Twitter. I'll put that handle in the description below if you want to follow me there. I'm pretty active. And I hope that your week got off to a good start. And I appreciate you watching. And I will see you in the next video.